Today, I want to build something. Whether you're a developer or not, we are all here because we love to build and we love to create. And so today, I want to do just that. Because it's not often that I get the chance or the time to actually create something anymore. It's not because I'm the CEO of GitHub, but because I'm like all of you. My energy, my creativity is finite every day. And all the distractions of life, from personal to professional, from morning to evening, gradually zap my energy. I wake up at my most creative, and sometimes I have a big light bulb idea. But as soon as the coffee is poured, all the distractions starts. The DMs flood in, text messages, emails. My kids are at home, and all of a sudden I hear them yell that the soccer ball flew into the neighbor's yard. My phone rings. It's Charles Lamana. He wants me to do a keynote in Vegas. Sure thing, just one more thing. I get back to my computer. I sit in wall-to-wall meetings. And by the time the sun comes down, that idea I had in the morning, it's gone. Right? It's midnight. Can't even keep my eyes open. And to be honest, in all of this, I usually don't even want to get started anymore because of the perception of having to do all these mundane tasks, all the boilerplate work that comes with every idea. It stops me in my tracks, and I know this is true for so many of you. And so I guess my point is, boilerplate sucks. All the busy work in life, especially repetitive work while coding, it's just a barrier between us and what we want to achieve. Every day, endless boilerplate prevents developers from building a new idea that will change the world. And with AI, we will shatter all this boilerplate. Soon enough, AI will write 80% code for us. In fact, in the keynote this morning, it felt like 100% of the code is already written for us. AI will act as an extension, getting us faster from idea to deployment. You've likely seen the memes about the 10x developer. It's a common internet joke. People have claimed the 10x developer many times. I believe it's time for us to redefine this. It isn't that developers need to strive to be 10 times more productive. It's that every developer deserves to be 10 times more productive. And that goes for every digital creator too, whether no code, low code, or pro code. It doesn't matter. We all want to change the world. And with AI at every step, we will realize the 10x developer. 10 days of work done in one day. 10 hours of work done in a single hour. 10 minutes of work done with a single prompt command. This will allow us to amplify our truest self-expression. It will help a new generation of creators, of developers learn and build as fast as their minds, as their ideas. And because of this, we will emerge into a new spring of digital creativity where every light bulb idea that we have in the morning, when we open our eyes, can be fully realized no matter what life throws at us. And no matter how daunting or complex that task may be. But not only this, with innovations like Copilot Chat, GitHub Copilot Chat, the original Copilot, if you will, or Power Platform Copilot, all the Copilots, natural language will become a new universal programming language. And by virtue of this, we will make it possible for every developer to go from no code to low code, and from low code to pro code. And we will enable every human to become a software developer, a software creator. We will all be able to build something brilliant without barriers. And I think this really goes to the heart of GitHub's and Power Platform's values. Democratizing software development for new generation of developers and creators. And I know this is something fundamentally that Charles believes in. It's what the Power Platform stands for. What's the power in Power Platform? It's what all you believe because that's why you're here. And it means a lot to me too. Software development has long been dominated by the English language, right? Everything in open source is dominated by English. You have to know English when you file an issue, when you want to engage in the community. And this has prevented non-English speakers, such as myself, from achieving more. And it has stalled digital transformation for countries around the world. But AI will give us the power to erase that inequity. With the power of natural language, with the power of all the co-pilots, a child in Germany, a child in India, a child in Brazil, or from any corner in the world, everyone with a dream to create something beautiful will be able to build to their wildest expense of their own imagination. That's the power of Copilot in natural language, no matter what language you speak and you grow up with. So today I want to build something. I want to code my own snake game. I have 28 minutes left, so plenty of time. Snake game, it's the thing we played on the Nokia phones with the keyboard keys. I'm going to use Copilot and GitHub, and you're going to all watch me, and hopefully we can play at the end. So let's switch to the demo machine. And I have Copilot here. Cool. And the original Copilot, the OG Copilot, came out in 2021. And it was just autocompletion, large language model-based autocompletion. So here's a JavaScript file in VS Code. And I can just type function, quicksort, array, And then Copilot gives me, what is this 8 lines of code, right? So I can just tap the tab key. And now Copilot wrote 80% of my code, if you will, right? And I'm a good developer, so I'm also writing a test case. So I do test quicksort. Oops. And let's see what test. Def function, of course. JavaScript is not my thing. Let's see if it gives me a test case. Maybe it got. Here's my test case. Well, it's a bit crude, I guess. It takes an array 5376229, and then it logs to the console what the output is. So I can use that for debugging and see if my method works. And that's how we all write code, right? We write a bit of code and then we hack it together until we have something running. Well, let's bring up Copilot Chat. It's here on the side. And I think, maybe the best question I can start with is, what's the best sort method? Maybe quicksort is no longer the thing. And Copilot Chat is thinking, and now it's giving me the answer. And one of the smartest decisions that OpenAI made is that it has the streaming, right? So you don't have to wait until the whole answer is rendered. You can keep reading while it gives you the output. And so now I can scroll up here, and we get my response, and I can actually make that a little bit bigger. Okay, quicksort is number 1. There's merge sort, heap sort, insertion sort. Interesting. So you get the idea here. I can use Copilot to learn something about the programming language and the problem I'm trying to solve. And it actually says, you're using quicksort, which is generally a good choice. Okay, cool. The other thing, I showed you this one little test case. What I can do here with Copilot Chat is I can just type /tests. And now, instead of just getting a single test case that cool test case, it actually uses a JavaScript testing framework, and it renders 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 test methods. That's what we're talking about when we say boilerplate is going away, right? Look at this. Oh, sorry. Whoa, that goes fast. Look at this. The test cases here, right? Sorting an array of numbers, sorting an array of duplicate numbers, sorting an array of one number, sorting an empty string or empty array, sorting an array with negative numbers. As a developer, you always have to have that moment where you figure out all these test cases. Now you can just ask Copilot, and I think you can actually say add more tests. And because the way chat works, it basically knows what it answered before, and now it gives me a set of existing tests, with decimal numbers and negative decimal numbers and an array of a 0, right? That is the power of large human language making us more productive. Thank you. Now, I think you all know the feeling. You join a new team, you start onboarding on a new project, maybe you're on a new company. What's happening? They're throwing code over to you, and you have to understand this project and have to learn. And if you're feeling the anxiety, if you can figure it out, they're all going to think, why did they hire Thomas? So here's a React project that I got from Burke, one of the Microsoft employees, and it seems like to be a React app. I know that much. Seems to be to do something like with to-dos. I can highlight this code and say, Copilot, explain this to me. And Copilot is thinking, and it uses the code. So this was what was pre-filled here. It uses the code that I highlighted and basically explains that this is a JavaScript method to toggle complete with a React component. Now I can also go back here and say Command I and say provide docs for this. And basically now creates a documentation for this. And it's a bit big here. Let's make this smaller. And you can basically see the diff here is that adds a little comment to this. So I can just accept this. So I made Berg's code a little bit better. And then here at the top, he left me like an arrow. And I hover over this, and it says something like import can only be used in TypeScript. And it's clearly JavaScript, not TypeScript. So I can right-click this and say Copilot fix this. And now Copilot, is analyzing that line. And the missing comma that would have taken me half an hour to find, right? Okay, so that's Copilot. You get it. Now we wanted to build a snake game, right? So here's a new project in VS Code. And let's start with create a snake game in JavaScript and see what it does. So now the cool thing about these demos, I've done these before, you always get something different. So it's like stand-up comedy. You never know what's happening. And you have to figure out how you react to all these things that the thing throws at you. And this one is actually the one that is most funny because it shows you what we call at Microsoft responsible AI. And so I get a chance to talk about this. So here in this scenario, it filtered the output because it figured something in the output is not ethical, doesn't comply with security, or has some other problem. I think this is bad because this is just a game. But you can see it would render a JavaScript snake game on the console. Now I want to have this run in HTML because then that means you can all open it on your phones. And I actually want to bootstrap a whole workspace. So you can say use the / command, say create workspace, a snake game in JavaScript. And I want to render 5 apples for the snake to eat. Because one is lame, eat. And what Create Workspace does, actually very similar to the Power Platform, now with ProCode, it actually gives you, scaffolds you a whole workspace. So it suggests here 4 JavaScript files, an index HTML, and CSS. And I can actually click on these and see what would that file look like when I render this workspace. And you can see the HTML. Now you can also provide additional instructions. And I see here it renders 4 JavaScript files. Now I'm a great developer, so I want it to put everything into a single JS file. Because spaghetti code is great, right? But joking aside, that obviously makes the demo better if you have everything in one file and don't have to switch between files. Now I see here my index.js, I see my index.html, I even get a README, so this looks great. So I now click the Create Workspace button, and now will do what we do in cooking shows, because that takes a minute, and I select a file here. I switch over to the prepared meal, and have that rendered workspace. It's still just the rendered workspace, and you can try this out at home after a minute. It has only these 3 files, and I tip Option B, and here's my snake game. This is what the scaffolding from GPT-4 did, and now I can play Snake. And there's nothing better in Keynotes than just playing games. Okay, so this works. Let's see if I can actually eat myself. Yep, game over. Now, for me to share this with you, I need to have it somewhere in the cloud. And the easiest way as the GitHub CEO is to put it on GitHub. And so I go here into source control, make that bigger. And I can publish it to GitHub. And given where we are, we call it Power Snake. And we make it public, so you can all see it. And okay, I want to check in all these files. That's fine. And now it's publishing it to GitHub. Really simple. Don't have to worry too much about how Git actually works. Can open this here on my demo account, and I can actually see here's my README. It actually explains the game, and I can go into settings, pages, and deploy the main branch to GitHub Pages. So now this spins up an actions workflow, and in a minute or so, the game will be on my GitHub Pages, but we'll come back to that. Now, if I go back here to my demo and just play this one more time, you'll see there's the only way I control it right now is with the cursor keys, right? So I use the cursor keys. But if I want to play that on my phone, like I did back then when I had a Nokia phone like 20 years ago, I need buttons or touch controls. And I've tried this before with touch controls. It does awkward things. I think buttons are the thing I want to go for here. So I go back to my game. I bring up Copilot again. I don't think we need this anymore. And I say something like, how to add 9 buttons in a phone layout. And Copilot Chat, because it uses the same model as ChatGPT, understands so much more than just coding, right? It understands fundamental concepts like phone layouts and that buttons are in a 3x3 grid. So you can see here that the code basically renders me 9 buttons in HTML and then gives me the CSS for rendering those. But I see the buttons are labeled button 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So use just the numbers for the buttons. So I don't get this button thing because that's not how that was in my memory. So here's now the new HTML. Now all the buttons have just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9. I can just highlight all this and insert it over into the file. And then save this and go here into my style sheet. And there was the styling up here. And I can just copy and paste this here and bring it over. And let's see how the game looks now. There's 9 buttons. Look a little bit like a Nokia phone. Now I think, oops, what did I do? I think I make them just as big as the canvas. That's easy enough. I don't need Copilot for that. Okay, cool. Now, this probably looks good on a phone, but it doesn't look good on my desktop because the buttons are stacked below the canvas. And even here, it's maybe a little bit big. So let's see, how do I get the buttons on the right side in landscape? And so it thinks about this for a moment. And keep in mind, I didn't specify I need this in the HTML file, I need this CSS file. Copilot understands the context of my project and gives me the right answer here. So it suggests a media query for landscape, so I can just take that. Oops, sorry. I can just take this here and put that under the button container. So a bit more CSS. And let's see again. OK, so now my buttons are here in landscape. That doesn't look great because it somehow changed the 3x3. Now the buttons are no longer in a 3x3, in a 3x3 grid. And you get the idea here that even if I have problems in these demos or in real life, I can ask Copilot to help me with these problems. It actually works fantastic also if you use the browser console and you see like a null pointer exception. You can just go and says, well, this causes a null pointer exception, give me another answer. And the funny moment always is Copilot then apologizes, says, I'm sorry, and here's the better answer. So let's go back here and let's see if that fixes it. And I think it does because it used this repeat 3.1fr. OK, cool. Now I have them in landscape. Still doesn't look as good because it changed the width and the height, so I just take that over here. I know that much code, OK. And then I don't want the absolute positioning either. Oh, that's why it's wrong. OK, so here's the thing. The way this layout works, it has a flex direction column. And what we actually want and what Copilot didn't do for us is let's remove this here. And then we are back to this layout and say, I want the buttons on the right side of the canvas in landscape. Landscape using the row layout. Let's see if that does what we want. Maybe I shouldn't have used the question mark, so now it's questioning me. OK, nope, that's not what I want. Nope, that's not what I want. It's natural language, right? Like we're controlling the machine. See, I apologize for the confusion. OK, it doesn't want to get me there, but like I know where I want to go. So the thing that it doesn't do here is in the landscape layout we want to basically say here row instead of landscape and instead of a column, and then fix the indentation. And now I have it like I want it. OK, I lost too much time on this, but we're good. Now, the thing is, on the buttons, 2468, I want to send the key events for left, up, left, right, down, right? That's what we want to do. Like, so if I click the buttons, I actually get, a control that simulates the cursor keys. Okay, this looks good. That basically, when the DOM content is loaded, it attaches these handlers. So I move this into my JavaScript file, and I think I put it here. Oops. Okay. Okay, cook. The snake is moving around. Cool, so now I can play this on my phone. On your phone it will look like this, right? And you can keep playing in the break. Now, I have a little bit of time to go, so I can, say, make the canvas look like an old Nokia screen. Oops, Nokia screen. Because it's not a real retro game, it doesn't look retro. So let's see, it basically suggests to make the game canvas in old Nokia screen color and dark borders. Let's see what that does. Closer, right? What about the buttons? Okay, dark gray background, white text, no border. Okay. That sounds cool. Button context like this is this. Whoa. Let's see if we go back here instead of making them too small, just making them 100%. What happens then? Okay. I think I can tune this a little bit. Let's see. Make this background black, background color. Good enough, I'd say. And while I'm at it, the good thing always is to commit all your files and say, made the game work on mobile. Okay, so we push this to my red repo. Okay, I have 4 more minutes. I can do one more thing. So now it's not a game if you're not counting the score, right? Like we need to have a score somehow, because otherwise I don't remember how good I was last time I played this. So how to add the score? And I can tell you I've tried this like a number of times at home, and my kids are always very excited as soon as you add the score, because now they can compare themselves. And so, it gives me the instructions, right? To initialize the score variable at the top of my script. This is a bit like a programming tutorial now. Okay. Then it says, increment the score variable each time the snake eats an apple. Okay, so I need to figure out where's that code where it eats an apple. Here it generates an apple. I check apple collision. Wait, I'm scrolling too fast. Okay, so this is where I'm increasing the score. So I can just take this here. And then I need to draw the score. So it says draw score. But we are drawing the high score, and I don't want to have the score the whole time visible. So I just go here. Where did that go? Unshift, check Apple collision set, and say, game over, your score plus score. Okay, I play now. And this is why I need 5 apples, because otherwise it takes forever for me to get long enough to eat myself. My score is 5. Cool. Now, one last thing. How to persist the high score. And that's the ultimate thing, right? Like you have a game, you want to have your score, and the next time you want a high score, and you can see again. By now you get the idea how this all works. I ask questions, I get answers, and I figure out how to stitch it together, and that teaches me actually how to learn JavaScript and HTML and CSS and have fun while doing so. So here it says, it wants me to add an element that I don't really need. I just need the local storage element here, high score. So basically, at the end of the game, the scrolling. At the end of the game, I'm looking at scores bigger than high score, and high score needs to come from somewhere. So let high score equals local storage. Look, Copilot just did it for me. High score, and I guess if not high score, then high score equals 0, right? And then, at the bottom here say high score plus high score. Okay, and we paint this. This is X, this is Y, so 50 should, let's say 60. Okay, let's see. Cool, high score 14. Wow, awesome. All right, I commit this, add score tracking, and commit it, and push it. And I open the browser and go to github.com, Hubba, Boss, PowerSnake. And in Actions, it builds my page. And I can already go here and find the first version of the page. Oops. And deploy. To click on, where is this? It's not showing me the page. Here. So there's my URL. And now, because it's not enough time for you to type this all, I just go into my profile here and put this into my README, right? Last demo, go here. And so now you only have to remember that I'm Hubbaboss on GitHub, that's the demo account, and you will see the game here. Thank you so much. Wow, I hadn't seen all the armbands before. This is amazing. I'm really thrilled to announce that today, GitHub Copilot Chat is available with every single GitHub Copilot subscription. In fact, it's no longer just Copilot Autocomplete and Copilot Chat. It's just one thing. It's all Copilot. And as a popular podcast said last week, in the era of AI, it's all gas, no brakes. So thanks so much for having me, MPPC. Thank you so much, Charles, for the invitation. See you next time.